Hello. I have a really interesting question to ask you. How did all of you guys get into acting? And being as that may be, what kind of words of encouragement could you give to someone who's a struggling singer, actress?
Is that you?
Yeah.
Never give up. Never surrender.
It ain't over till it's over, honey.
I think the best thing I could say is that everybody in the world is beautiful enough and interesting enough to be stared at. And it's usually only actors who allow people to do that. Usually, in the animal world, the only time that animals stare at each other is when they're thinking of eating each other. So when large groups of people stare at you, there's a big uncomfortable feeling, you probably know. And actors, it's an incredible act of bravery, usually born of desperation, frankly, but nonetheless brave. And faint, yeah. To be private in public, to be yourself when you're screaming, you know, your whole mind is screaming, run away, they're going to eat me. But I think that once you realize that everybody is interesting, that everybody is beautiful, then your job is really to reveal yourself, to not try to be more interesting than yourself or bigger than yourself. Brando said you can't be bigger than yourself. You just have to be yourself. And if you do that, you unleash a power that's pretty cool. And I got into acting because Life of Crime just wasn't going to work out. No, that's serious.
And I think, like, you know, James is saying, I think also what's pertinent is to find each other interesting. Because it's not interesting to watch somebody who just thinks they're interesting. They have to think whoever they're acting with, like these two and their chemistry, I mean, they can't take their eyes off each other, and that's dynamic and great acting. And Sam Waterston always had a sign on his mirror before he would go out on stage, and it would say something like, when the camera turns on you, think about what he or she is doing, not me. So I think that makes interesting acting, to think about what the other actor is doing and who they are, and that they're compelling and fascinating. And if they're not, find something about them that's interesting, like in life, you know?
And for your friend who's struggling singer,
your friend.
The thing that's really neat about film and television, you watch any film and television, and there are roles for everybody, no matter how old you are, how handsome or not handsome you are. Let's try to be funny, but there are roles for everybody. And what I always tell fellow actors who are sort of in that situation, because we've all been there, I've been there, I coach people sometimes, and I say, look, you know, if you're not booking, you know, maybe there's something technically you can work on to get back to that place. Because as long as it lives in your heart, the desire is there to go forward. And nothing should stop you from chasing your dream, no matter how big or small it may be. So I encourage you to keep sending your CDs out, your DVDs, keep performing, and let your heart shine. And if business is a little different, find some business coaching to help tighten up those business things to get it packaged the right way so the right people can see it and respond to it. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
I would just say, I mean, what these guys said is great. And basically, what James was saying in terms of connecting to sort of what if it's you, what's personal, you know, in you that wants to do that, and really staying focused and connected to sort of the spark in you, the passion in you, that what's burning in you to do it, because there's a lot of things in the business that we do, acting, whether it's music, that are really crappy, basically. And it's like deflecting that by staying connected to the work and what it is that gets you up in the morning to do it, and staying connected to that and your work ethic and your work, what keeps you interested in it. Basically, I would add that.
Yeah.
One more little tidbit. Don't die with your music in you. Share it with us. Even if it doesn't make you a gazillionaire, share your music with the world.
Yeah.
The world needs more music.
James and Juliet, you had such tremendous chemistry as Spike and Drusilla. Do you think you'd be able to duplicate that as other characters? You were just so wonderful together.
With each other?
Yes.
Sure.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Well, because
We're ready.
we connected as two human beings,
We're
two
ready.
actors who, like, there was nobody else. I was always the guy that was saying, "Boy, isn't this a great script, guys?" And most everybody would say, "Shut up, we're tired." I would go to Juliet, and she'd be like, "Yeah, man, it's a great script, and look at this one little beat, isn't it? It's just delicious, that one word." And so there's a level of passion that I feel very comfortable with, and I don't have to worry that I'm being obnoxious, being so passionate about it. So I think we could probably rock on about anything. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is primarily for James. Recently I picked up a movie of yours called Shadow Puppets. And this being the first time I've ever seen you without the quote-unquote Captain Peroxide look, wow, it threw me for a loop. But mainly, while you were on that movie, did you find yourself slipping into Spike by accident at any point in time?
No. He was a very different character than Spike. He was cut off from his own emotions, and Spike was very much not that. And he's also felt all bad about killing people, which Spike didn't feel bad about. Until later. But no. I sometimes I slip into Spike when I don't know, like on the phone for a joke or something. But yeah.
First of all, to Juliet, on the infamous line was "Thank me till Tuesday."
I did have to bring that up.
My ex-girlfriend made me rewind the tape 4 times.
Really?
All the while denying she was a pain slut.
What was her name?
Megan McGee.
I just saw your smile, just like went. A little scary.
But to James and Juliet, the two characters of Spike and Drusilla having the potential to be just so incredibly freaking over the top. How did the two of you work both together and individually to keep them from becoming caricatures instead of characters?
I think some of that is just what we were talking about before in terms of the intelligence of the writing, because everything in, like, for instance, I mean, everything, sorry, I haven't eaten, so I'm a little, a little shaky, but everything in the Buffyverse sort of has this bigger, broader, deeper meaning. So, you know, high school is a nightmare, but you use the dark forces like our characters to show that to the absolute extreme. So there was, everything for me was always rooted. So, you know, when Buffy came out to her mom about being a slave, Joss said he wrote it as if, you know, her mother had found out that she was gay. Because all the language is like, are you sure that you're a slayer? Can you try not to be a slayer? You know, and so for us as actors, like, all of that stuff was rooted, so we knew what the sort of underpinnings of it was, so we could go really far because we were grounded. So I think a lot of that for me was in the intelligence of the writing.
Yeah, you only get in danger of going over the top. It's exactly what you said. If it's not filled, if you're faking it, if you're posing and you're not really feeling it, then you're probably going over the top. But if it's rooted, if there's emotion behind it, you can't fail in that way. Yeah.
Hi there.